Hey, what is up, Vine Kids team? If you're taking the time to watch this video, thank you. Thank you for taking a few minutes and checking this out. This is really important stuff, and I know that within kids ministry and within any serving team in our church, there's a lot of communication that happens, so it means a lot that you would pause, click the link, and take some time to hear some vision about where we're going. And that's what this video is about. Where we are going and some important things that we need to be equipped with along the way. And so what I want to do is I'm going to talk about three different things that you guys need to be aware of and informed of, and that we need to take and maybe approach with importance in this season that we're going into in kids ministry. Number one, I just want to reinforce, and you've probably thought this before, that's why you are serving in kids ministry. You probably agree with this and believe in this because, and again, that's why you're doing this, is what we do is important. Kids ministry is massively important. I'm going to go extreme here. I'm going to be a little theatrical. Kids ministry is eternally important. The things that you do every week in Vine Kids, they don't just have a impact that week on kids. It has the potential to have an eternal impact in the lives of kids. I mentioned this in one of our huddles this last Sunday, that I'm a product of really intentional men and women throughout my life who took some time, and not just my parents, but who took some time on Sunday mornings and on Wednesday nights to spend time with me and disciple me and model what it is to walk with Jesus. So I want to just take a few moments and just say, what you do is massively important. This isn't babysitting. We are making disciples for Jesus. We're fulfilling the Great Commission. And so as we approach this really important, really big thing, I just want to talk about a couple different things that I want us to keep in mind as we do that. Okay, so the first thing is I want to talk a little bit about our weekend schedule. When you guys come in to serve on Sundays, I'm going to try to make a really clear-cut agenda for us. That way you just know what to expect when you come in. And you guys all have systems and ways that your classrooms run right now, but I want to give kind of a broad stroke expectation for what before service on Sunday morning looks like. Every week, and we've been doing this for a while, you guys have been a part of this, we're going to do a pre-service huddle. A pre-service huddle, and this is going to take place 30 minutes before the start of service time. So if you are on check-in, we need you to arrive 30 minutes before your service time starts. If you are a classroom teacher, 30 minutes. If you're a classroom leader, if you're a team member, if you're overseer, if you're doing slides for the gathering place, 30 minutes before service starts, we need to arrive and come together as a team, and we're going to huddle. Here's what we're going to do in the huddle. We're going to pray. What we're doing is so important, we can't do it without prayer. So we're going to take some time and we're going to pray, and we're going to give that service to the Lord. We're going to put it at His feet. Okay, we're going to pray. We're going to pray for each other. We're going to check in. I don't know about you guys. When I come into a weekend to serve, sometimes I'm coming from like the best week ever. Sometimes I'm coming from the roughest week ever. And so we're going to check in and we're going to be there for each other. This is a moment for us to breathe and say, how are we doing, guys? Where are we at? Because we're getting ready to pour out. We're getting ready to be here with the kids. We're getting ready to be intentional with them. So let's be intentional with each other for a minute. And also, we're going to communicate. There might be some things that you need to be made aware of for that service that I can help make you aware of, or the leader can help make you aware of. Or there might be questions you have. And so that huddle is massively important. And this is going to take place 30 minutes. Everybody say it with me wherever you're at. 30 minutes before service starts. So show up on time for the pre-service huddle, because what we do is important. So being on time for it is really important so we can kick things off the right way. The second thing for the weekend schedule I want you guys to really take note of is I really want to see our classrooms ready to receive kids 25 minutes before service starts. So we're going to do our pre-service huddle 30 minutes before service. And then everyone's going to break and go to your classrooms, and we're going to hit the check-in counter and everything. And we're going to be ready to receive parents and children 25 minutes before service. I don't know if you guys have noticed this. There's two different kinds of people. There are people who arrive at church 20 minutes after service starts, and then there's people who like to come early. And what's interesting is a lot of times newer people who are new to the church, maybe new to church in general, they show up early. Not always, but a lot of the time it seems to be consistent. And what we really want to do is show people we are ready for you. We're ready for you. Jesus said this. He said, "The Son of Man, I came to serve and not to be served." These kids are not coming to classrooms to come attend our thing. They're not coming here so their parents can just go watch a message and worship without being bothered or having to dole out crayons and coloring supplies during service. We're not babysitters. We're there to serve these kids. We're there to disciple these kids. We are here to serve families. And so when families come to our church, whether they've been coming for 10 years or they have been coming for 15 minutes, they just came for the first time, we want them to feel and know we're here for you and we are ready for you. So that's a little bit on our weekend schedule. When you guys show up 30 minutes early. We're going to do pre-service huddle. This is very important. And then it's super important that we are ready to receive children, check them in, and receive them in our classrooms. We're ready for them 25 minutes before service starts. So that's a little bit about our weekend schedule. I want to shift gears, and I want to talk about our team community. We can't do this. I'm going to keep reiterating this. If you know me, you know I like to repeat myself, so I apologize. What we do is really important, so we can't do it by ourselves. We need each other. Me and my wife, Cheyenne, have 3 kids, and oh my goodness, she went out of town a couple weeks ago, and I realized what it's like to be locked in a room with 3 children by myself. You guys have more than 3 kids in your rooms. We need each other. We need people with us, locking arms, not just so we survive the service time or so that we don't go crazy with all the kids running around and playing and having a great time. We need each other because we just weren't built to do kingdom stuff by ourselves. And one of the things I want to put a massive focus on as we move forward as a ministry is just our community. Your community with one another, our community together. As I'm one of the leaders, and we're going to have, again, like I mentioned, we'll have leaders coming in. I want us to have a thriving and vibrant community. And so we're going to put some emphasis on that. And so what I want to do is I'm going to touch on a couple things that really lend towards having a strong and vibrant community, okay? So the first thing I want you guys to see is this. I don't know if you know this or not. We have the largest team in the church. There are more people who are part of the kids ministry team than any other team in the church. And this number might be a little skewed. I'm looking at our roster. We have over 60 people who are serving on this team. The roster says 71. I'm going to be conservative with that. But we have 60, maybe over 70 people on this serving team. And that tells me a couple things. That tells me we have more than enough people to accomplish this task. We're blessed in that way. But also it tells me this, that we're going to have to fight for community because 70 people, that's a small church right there. And I want us to be intentional about living not just to survive the weekend, not just I hope we can get enough people to make this service time happen. I don't want us to roll like that. I want us to thrive. I want us to live in community, live to serve each other, to walk with each other. And so here's a couple things I think are going to be really important in that. I would like to encourage you, and we're going to set this as a team standard. I would like to encourage you to carve out 2 weekends a month to serve. As of right now, we have a few people that serve 2 to 3 weekends. Some even serve 4 weekends a month. They serve every week to make sure we have positions filled. We have a few people that serve 2 weekends a month. But the vast majority of our team serves around 1 time a month to once every 6 weeks. Now, if you look at our roster and our needed positions, that makes sense. So what I want to say is this, is I want to encourage you to look at your schedule and say, man, what we do is important. How can I carve out 2 times a month to serve? Here's what this is going to do. Number one, this is going to increase your community. This is going to increase your connections on the team. You're not going to feel like you're on an island. I just come in and do my thing and leave. You're going to get to know more people. You're going to be living life and building friendship with people. I want to emphasize this as part of our kids, or as part of our kids team. This is for you as much as it is for the kids. You know, being part of a serving team is one of the greatest ways to live life, to have connection, to have camaraderie, to have community, and to follow Jesus better. We do it better when we're with people. And serving is a great way of just being in community with other believers. This happens better the higher amount of times per month you're in. And so I am not talking about this just to put butts in seats and to fill positions. Discipleship and community happens better when we're more intentional about carving out time to serve. And so if you're a part of the kids team, I want to challenge you and encourage you. I'm going to set a standard. I want us to serve 2 times a month. I understand sometimes phases of life hit and it's like it just doesn't work right now. Or sickness happens and things like that. Always going to be understanding about that. But as a team standard, what we're going to communicate, what I'll communicate, and you'll hear me say many times, is, man, serve no less than 2 times a month because it's going to be so much better for your community. Another side of this and why this is important is because with kids, consistency matters. I don't know if you ever studied Mr. Rogers, but there's a reason he walked into the house every time at the beginning of each episode and put on his shoes the same way and took off his sweater the same way. You know why he did that? Because we don't know how consistent home life is for the kids who are coming every weekend. We want to offer them. He did this because he wanted them to see he was a consistent character in their life. He was somebody they could trust. They could depend on Mr. Rogers to be there and to always be Mr. Rogers. Listen, those kids who are coming to your classroom, I don't know what kind of home life they all come from. I know some of them. I don't know all of them. I'm sure you know some of them. I'm sure you don't know all of them, though. We don't know what all's happening behind the scenes and who's showing up to our classroom. We want to show up as consistently as possible. And so, man, being consistent with these kids is going to be so important because, again, we're not babysitters. We're not just hired guns who come in to watch them. We are role models and disciple makers. And disciple making happens best around relationships. So we need to be serving 2 times a month. And here's why. Because you're going to make relationships with the kids so much better the more consistently you serve. So I want to encourage you and challenge you and set a standard of 2 times a month serving across the board for our kids team. And you might be wondering, well, if there's 70 some people, how are we going to make room? We will find places. My goal is this, is that we have a team that lives in vibrant community together and that we have a team that is intentionally and consistently serving and discipling these children. And that's going to happen best through relationship. So that's the second thing is our team community. The other side of this is I want us to be intentional about what it looks like living in relationship with each other. And so within the classrooms, I understand we have multiple classrooms. It's impossible to get all 71 people in the same room for a dinner party. So what we're going to do is we are going to be very intentional moving forward about classroom community. So our classroom leaders, I want to challenge you. Find time, make time to build relationship with your teams, the people who are serving in your classrooms. Take time and make time to do that. So we'll flesh that out, and there'll be some ideas and brainstorming that happens around that, but I also wanted to mention that because I want you to know relationship is massively important, okay? Third thing, final thing, I want to give you a breakdown of a change we are making to Sunday services. If you made it this far, we're 14 minutes in. You're doing great. Keep going, okay? We're almost done. A change we're going to make to Sunday services. Here's why we're making this change, okay? I want to start with why before I even get to what. What we do is massively important. Your ability to connect with children and model following Jesus to kids is the most important thing you have to offer on a Sunday morning. It's the most important thing you have to offer. So I'm going to make a shift, and we're going to shift the way Sunday mornings work in kids ministry to free you up as leaders to focus on modeling, worshiping, following Jesus, and being intentional with him, and just being intentional in relationship with the kids, okay? So here we go. One of the things we're going to do, and there's a change coming for both sides of kids ministry, but we're going to start with one so we don't reinvent every aspect of it. We're going to change how we do gathering place time on the weekends. So right now we have 5 classrooms. We have babies. We've got the 2 and 3-year-olds. What we're going to do is we're not going to combine those classrooms, but those are going to be compiled into a ministry we're going to call Vine Littles. So Vine Littles will be those 2 classrooms. Nothing's really going to change systematically for this. This is going to help us have a correct train of thought as we approach this. The other 3 classrooms, the 4-year-old through kindergarten, the 1st grade through 3rd grade, and the 4th and 5th grade classes, that's going to be Vine Kids. And so that ministry will be Vine Kids. Vine Kids, all of those classrooms will now, after check-in process, they will go to the gathering place. So this is what a Sunday flow will look like. And I just want to do a quick explanation. And if you have any questions, man, blow up my phone. I have no problem talking things through with you. Check-in will look identical to what it looks like now. 25 minutes before service, we open doors for check-in. Because we're all on time, teachers are there, they're ready to roll, and we're ready to receive kids. Kids start checking in. For that first 30 minutes, man, we are high-fiving kids. We're saying, hey, how was your week? What are you up to this week? What are you excited about this week? How's it going? Are you doing okay in this area? Maybe you had a conversation before with a kid and you're just kind of clued into an area of their life. But we're just building community, playing games, having fun in the classroom. So that's 25 minutes. At service time, all 3 of those classrooms, remember, Vine Littles stays in your rooms. We're not shifting anything there. This is for Vine Kids, those older 3 classrooms. All of them at service time will go to the gathering place. We'll go to the gathering place, no different than we're doing right now. There will be a countdown on the screen, and the countdown's going to countdown. During the countdown, there'll be fun music playing. It'll be awesome. After the countdown, we're going to do a really fun dance video song thing. Then we go straight into game time. We're going to lead the kids in a game, and they're going to compete against each other. And then we'll do worship. We'll do our verse of the day. We'll do our lesson. After that, we'll have another verse of the day. Again, this breakdown isn't as important. I'm just giving you kind of a mental picture. We'll do some worship after the lesson. And then after our gathering place time is done, all of the classrooms will go back to the classroom, and you'll do this with the kids. You're going to just chat with them, get them around and say, hey, what were some things that stood out to you from today's lesson? You can pray with them. What are some things we can pray about together? And lastly, play. Have fun as checkout wraps up. This doesn't change a lot other than this, is that the 4-year-old through kindergarten class will be in the gathering place the whole time. And here's what your guys' job is now. You're not thinking through what's my curriculum, what's my lesson plan today. You're not thinking through what's my content I've got to go over in the classroom. All you're thinking about is this. I need to be there on time so that I can be intentional, getting to know kids, connecting with kids, and modeling Jesus to kids. When you're in the gathering place and we're doing worship, leaders, I want you sitting with the kids, standing with the kids, worshiping Jesus, showing them this is how we worship. When we're doing the verse of the day and we're facilitating for the month of February, I'll be doing some facilitating in the gathering place and modeling what that's going to look like. As we're doing that, man, yell out that verse like your life depends on it. Model what it is to engage with Jesus. Model what it is to engage with the lesson. Our job is to keep order in the gathering place, make sure kids aren't running all over the place. We need to be correcting and making sure we're wrangling the kids in and keeping their attention focused. But also, it's to model. Most importantly, it is to model. So, again, just quick recap. Check-in is going to be exactly like normal. Vine Littles, you guys will have a normal Sunday this Sunday, no changes there. Vine Kids, though, those older 3 classrooms, at service time, like normal, you all go to the gathering place. Leaders, you'll sit with the kids. I'll be facilitating this week to kind of model what this new flow will look like, so you have nothing to worry about there. Your job this weekend is this: engage, engage, engage. Love on those kids. Model what it is to worship with enthusiasm with the kids. Model what it is to get excited about the lesson and to talk about the scripture. And then when you go back to the classroom, engage with them. How are you doing? What did you get out of the lesson? Who can tell me what's going on with this passage and what it means? Pray with them and just have fun. Your role is to build real connection and relationship with these students so that they can not just hear about Jesus, but they can see Jesus in you. What you do is massively, massively important. And I'm so excited to have you on this team. So listen, here's what we're going to do. We're going to show up on time and do a huddle. We're going to be ready to receive kids at 25 minutes till service starts. I want to challenge you. We're going to serve 2 times a month, because when we serve 2 times a month, we have better camaraderie and community with each other. We're more consistent for the kids, and we make friendships, and we're able to serve Jesus alongside people. It just works better that way. And lastly, we're going to shift the way we do gathering place ministry this weekend. If you have any questions at all, you've got my email. It's jordan@thevinegoshen.org. And if you want my phone number, ask. I'll give it to you. I would love to chat with you and answer any questions you may have. Thank you for taking 22 minutes now, I think, of your time watching this video. I love you guys, and I'm so honored to serve with you. It's not an easy thing we do. It isn't. Being around kids for an hour on Sundays, it can be taxing energy-wise. It can be draining. Maybe it fills you up. I'm not going to say it taxes everybody. Maybe it's a just tank filler for you. I love that. But it's not always easy, but it is massively impactful. It will have an eternal impact, and that is not just a pithy church saying. I'm a product of it. My friends are products of it. My wife is a product of it. My kids are blessed by you because you serve in kids ministry. So I'm forever grateful. Thank you for your investment into the kingdom. We'll see you guys Sunday.